Yulia Yefimova and Ruta Meilutyte facing off each other. So lots of excitement and great finals to come.
Well, it's as noisy as it has been over the first 3 nights. We had loads of people in front of PT, but I'm looking, it's only really the corner seats that are not occupied. Pretty much all the others are. The far end is rammed, so it's going to be a very noisy one, and I have lots of home interest to get excited about. And interestingly, what has happened for James Guy's withdrawal from the 200 flies, he's given a chance for an Italian to come into it, who's actually based in this country. He's based down at Kelly College down in Devon. So that's worked out nicely for those down at Kelly College, down in Toniton. Anyway, on to the longest race for the men in the 1500 freestyle. And there is an outright favourite in this. We will see him very shortly, but let's go through them. Yamika will be in lane 7 for the Czech Republic.
He was a finalist at the World Championships last year, also the Europeans 2 years ago.
Henrik Christiansen for Norway was in the final 2 years ago.
Well, no, he was not in the final, but he was second in the 400 meters here in Glasgow.
Here's Florian Wellbrock as one of the faster times in Europe this year in the 1500 meters freestyle, going in lane 3. Now, this man's already won the 400. Can he make it a 400 and 1500 double, and indeed have the 800 later in the week as well?
Well, he's one of the favorites. I think everyone would love to see him facing off Olympic and world champion Gregorio Paltrinieri. However, it was Damien Joly from France who surprisingly had the best time in the heats. So he qualified first into lane 4.
Well, he had a very good swim in Rio a couple of years ago, which put him on the scene and set the French record in Rio at the Olympic Games. But there's the world record, 14:31. Don't see Sun Yang's 2012 marker from London going. And maybe the European could be challenged.
Anyway, it's going to be another great duel between Romanchuk and Paltrinieri. At the World Championships last year, it was Paltrinieri who touched first. However, at the last year's short course Europeans, Romanchuk managed to beat the Italian Greg, as we can read it on his cap.
Romanchuk was 3rd in London 2 years ago in this competition. Paltrinieri, as we know, just having heard his media conference on the day before this competition started, he is oh so up for this. He really is. He wants to go and set a marker. Of course, he's talking and flirting a little bit with open water right now, talking about that's what I want to go into eventually. But right now, it's pool swimming for me, and I'll let that happen another day.
So I think we should focus on Romanchuk and Paltrinieri. Paltrinieri is the European record holder, but Romanchuk was amazingly fast in the 400 meters. So it should be between those two. And let's not rule out Florian Wellbrock from Germany. As you mentioned, he had a very good time, a solid 14:40 this year. He was also swimming a couple of open water races, actually winning one World Cup in Hungary, Balatonfüred, the venue of last year's World Championships. So already an established open water swimmer as well, Florian Wellbrock.
Well, it's early stages, so we won't get too excited, but they're right on European record pace. Paltrinieri setting the early pace with Wellbrock in 2nd place. Now, Paltrinieri right in the middle of that European record, just started to accelerate, started coming down to a 57 high, just injecting that bit of pace. We won't be seeing 57 highs at this stage. As long as he's repping about 58.5, that's about where he needs to be.
Yeah, now settling into the right pace, I think Gregorio Paltrinieri. Completely different styles if you compare Paltrinieri down in lane 6 and Mihailo Romanchuk in the black cap swimming right above him. Completely different style, completely different technique, but pretty much the same speed.
It's interesting to discuss that because basically Romanchuk is a 400 up boy, isn't he? And you kind of think about Paltrinieri really is 8 and 15. You don't think of him in fours. You think of him at the longer distance. He's talking about open water, where the adaptability of the Romanian to just go to the Ukrainians to just go and go bit of 4, bit of 8, bit of 15, and feel equally comfortable at doing those 3 different events.
But look at his style. I mean, Romanchuk, very relaxed, long strokes, way less stroke in each lap than Paltrinieri. So that is very relaxing style and saving some energy for the final 500 meters or so. It is Paltrinieri who sets the pace, but Romanchuk really knows that he has to be somewhere around Paltrinieri's waist.
Well, they're separated out by 3 different lanes, and but they'll be keeping a watchful eye on each other. They don't want anybody in between just to block that view. That view is being partially blocked by Romanchuk, and of course the now really into his stroke for Wellbrock in lane number 3. So the German coming through. The German really has accelerated over that 100.
Yes, but it's still Paltrinieri swimming under 30 seconds in each lap. This was another 29.7 by him, 29.6 by Romanchuk, and 29.5 by Wellbrock.
So 3 in the mix at the moment. Still early days. Well, you can see 5 from our overhead shot are all in pretty close contention. And we'll look across the pool and we'll see at the moment Paltrinieri has probably about half a body length advantage, certainly no more than that, over Wellbrock. 3rd place is Romanchuk. Damien Joly in 4th.
And also, just keep an eye on the turns of Romanchuk. I already mentioned that he has long strokes, way less strokes each lap than Paltrinieri, but when they go to the turns, Paltrinieri turns, kicks 1 or maybe 2 underwater, and that's it. Take a look at Romanchuk. Now you cannot see from this angle, but he has way better turns. So as of now, I would put my money on Romanchuk.
Very little
long way to go.
Yeah, 0.12, but we've not even reached 3rd of the race. We will do when they turn this time. This will be the 500-meter turn for the Italian, and Romanchuk might just get ahead of him here. They're going to go into the wall pretty much together. Oh, it's very, very tight. Wellbrock in 2nd place. 3rd place is Romanchuk for Damien Joly. 4:53.14, so slipping a bit outside European record pace, just over 2.5 seconds now.
Yeah, we're not expecting a European record this time, but we are expecting some great duel. Or we might even say that Florian Wellbrock might be in the mix as well in the final 200 meters or so.
Top
Let's not
4.
rule out Damien Joly.
Yeah, top 4 separated by, well, less than 2 seconds at this stage. Top 3 separated by 1/3 of a second. That's how tight this is. And again, the lead might change quite a few times. There's 4 of them pretty much in a line as they come down below our commentary position, which is at about 6 meters. And it's going to be Paltrinieri getting there just ahead of Romanchuk and Wellbrock. Very tight between the 2 of them. 4th is Damien Joly. And yeah, Mika, we haven't really mentioned him in the race because he's not really in contention at this stage. Just a little bit dropped off the leading 4. But 1, 2, and 3, you could pretty much stick a washing line across them.
Yes, and this lap, Romanchuk was 0.05 of a second quicker than Paltrinieri. So that is pretty much nothing. They are swimming in the very same pace, and Wellbrock now taking over by 0.02.
Yeah, 2 100s, that's all there is between Wellbrock and Paltrinieri. And Romanchuk just maybe biding his time just a little bit. What's happening with Joly in lane number 4? Is he going to come to the party? Well, he's only 1 body length behind. So he's not too far adrift. Yamika still holding on to 5th. This may change again in terms of lead. Paltrinieri back in the lead now. Velbrock in 2nd place, and then Romanchuk in 3rd, Joly in 4, but top 3 again, right across the pool. Looks like there's no gap between them at all.
We have just witnessed the first change of pace by Paltrinieri after swimming several 29.5, 6, 7. Now he's down to 29.2. And he is keeping that pace. Let's see if Velbrock and Romanchuk can hold the same pace.
Well, Velbrock was at 29.19 there, compared to Paltrinieri's 29.54, Romanchuk 29.66. So it's going to be those little margins that change things around as the balance and counterbalance of this 1500 meters freestyle changes. And again, we might have another new leader this time round. Who knows? Very, very tight between Velbrock in 3 and Paltrinieri. They're going to go to the wall pretty much together. And just the Italian from the German, with the man from Ukraine in 3rd place and Damien Joly in 4th. Doesn't look to me like he's going to really make a fist of this.
No, not at all. It is going to be Velbrock, Romanchuk and Paltrinieri fighting it off until the very end. Look at Velbrock's move once again up in lane 3. This is going to be a much stronger 50-meter lap than the previous one.
Paltrinieri behind Velbrock now, with Romanchuk in 3rd place. Damien Joly in 4th. He might well be swimming his own race here. It's far enough ahead of Yamika, doesn't have to worry. But in terms of the top 3, I'm afraid it looks like they've gone and they're disappearing out of his view.
Right now, Romanchuk really needs to focus on Velbrock because he has made his move. So Romanchuk keeping up with Paltrinieri all the time, and he has to look to the other side right now, because Velbrock is more than half a second away from Paltrinieri.
8:48.68 plays 8:49.20 in terms of 1 and 2. Managed to clear well over halfway. Next time they come back this end, it will be 1,000 meters, so we'll have 500, and 2/3 of the race will have gone. German on his own. And then we got Romanchuk and Paltrinieri changing places again.
And extending the lead, Velbrock. Now 29.0 is split time compared to 29.5 by Romanchuk, 29.7 by Paltrinieri. So Paltrinieri is dropping behind, only in 3rd position right now, and Romanchuk has to catch Florian Velbrock.
500 meters to go when they turn this time. Let's see what the gap is between 1 and 2. Well, there's on your screen, 1.22 between Velbrock and Romanchuk, but then only 2/10 between the Ukraine swimmer and the man from Italy.
I mentioned that Florian Velbrock won that open water race in Lake Balaton this June. That was his very first victory in the World Cup, and he had a similar swim to this. So he went with the pack in the first half and then broke away. He swam his own pace and no one could catch up with him anymore.
So making a 1.40 between 1 and 2 at the moment, and well, hardly anything between 2 and 3. Let's see,
the gap is increasing between Velbrock and Romanchuk. So the Ukrainian now has to go after Velbrock.
Paltrinieri doesn't look good, does he?
Nope.
Doesn't look good at all at this stage. Maybe this is going to be the pattern of the rest of the race. 1.4 it was at the last bit, down to 1.07 now. So he took 4/10 very nearly out of the lead in Romanchuk.
Romanchuk 29.0, another great split by the Ukrainian. Look at the legs crawling. Velbrock must be very, very tiring if you're kicking already at the 1,000 meter mark. So long way to go, and Romanchuk still seems to be relaxed.
Lead goes up again for the German, increased it by a couple of tenths of a second, up to 1.35. Paltrinieri, to me, looks done, but maybe he's got a kick finish in there, but his body language and the way he's coming right across to the lane rope doesn't suggest that to me right now.
He wants to keep the pace of Romanchuk, but just cannot hold on to the Ukrainian. But can the Ukrainian hold on to the German? That is the question.
Yeah, now with 300 to go. It's back to 1.10. When they come back down this way, Romanchuk keeps eating into that lead.
Because he's breathing to that side. So when coming back to this way, then he sees Valbrug at each stroke. So that is the chance of the German.
Now, when's he going to try and do that decisive break? Maybe it'll be coming soon if he's allowed to do it, of course. It's not totally up to him, but the gap is now under a second between Romanchuk and Valbrug. Valbrug still in command just, but it's getting tighter, it's getting closer, but time is running out.
A little bit more than 200 meters to go, and Romanchuk now still very relaxed, very long strokes, but a good body length. The advantage of Valbrug. 4 more laps to go.
Well, I think the gap is shorter. It is down to 0.83. He's taking about a tenth of a second now. He needs more than that for 50 to make it now. He's going to have to really go for this. I think we'll have discounted Paltrinieri for quite some way. It's his bronze. He doesn't have to worry about anything else now. He's got a medal. Question is, where is the gold and where is the silver going to go? And I think that gap is just getting a little bit shorter. Look at that. Almost on the feet now of our leader. Let's see what happens. We'll know more with the clock. Yeah, down to 0.74.
So once again, 1/10 of a second, but that is not going to be enough because we only have 3 more laps to go. Now half the body length in between the first two, Valbrug and Romanchuk. And when Valbrug hears the bell, that is going to give him extra strength and power for the final 100 meters.
And it is close. It's getting closer. You can see visibly it is very, very close now. We are down to 0.37, and they're going to go stroke for stroke. And this often happens, doesn't it, in a 1500 freestyle? It comes down to 100 sprint.
Look at that. After hearing the bells, Valbrug found some energy. So the gap is not increasing anymore. And not decreasing as well. So he might get home with that.
Well, he might not, too. Let's have a look on this turn, how close it is. Half a second. Can Romanchuk find half a second? Can he find 0.57 over the last 50? The crowd really getting into this. They don't have a British interest. They don't have a horse in this race, but they are getting fully behind these two. And you know what? Every time he's under pressure, the German just comes up with something, and he has nailed this race. He has won this race in a super time as well. 14:36.15 for the German. It will be and is silver for Romanchuk. So a silver to add to his gold in the 400. Paltrinieri, the European record holder, back in third.
Brilliant, 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 Florian Valbrug. I don't know how he found the energy in the final 100 meters. But he had the fastest finishing 50.
I think he's quite happy with that.
And it really hurts for Romanchuk. You know what? He was preparing for a duel with Gregorio Paltrinieri. He had the perfect tactics against the Italian. Only to find out that, oops, there's another guy on the other side.
Well, that really has deflated the Paltrinieri balloon, because he came into this meet really thinking he was in great form, in great shape, and thought he could win this.
But normally, 14:42 that Paltrinieri swam, normally that should be enough for a title, but not this time, because we had Valbrug doing a new personal best, and also Romanchuk doing a new personal best.
Terrific time for our winner. 14:37 he did earlier on this year, so he's beaten up by a full second.
And now Valbrug moving into the 4th position all time. So he is the 4th fastest swimmer ever to swim this 1500 meters.
And he did it under threat. There was always that ominous shadow, if you like, of Romanchuk getting closer, got within just about half a second, didn't he, off that final turn, as close as he'd been, really. But he wasn't able to power home because the German had other ideas. We have the result confirmed. Isn't it good to see all 8 under 15? How often do you see that?
I don't really remember a race where all the swimmers were under 15.